here we are. It's finally happening.
We're so glad you're watching.
This is exciting. We've been building up to this for a while, and for those of you who have already joined us on here, that's awesome. We really appreciate it. First Tony and Kris show, kind of what we plan to do, a couple times a week for a while, and then if it takes off and people like what we're doing, we may try to up that to 3 times a week. But we're going to go slow. We'd rather build something than go, we're going to do 5 days a week, and then, well, this is terrible. Nobody likes it.
Well, we're going to have fun with this one. Let's just concentrate on this one. We're going to have our top 5 CMA moments for you.
Yeah, so that was just the other night. Great show if you're a country music fan. So what we believe were the top 5 moments of the show is coming up a little later, and lots of pop culture stuff to talk about, music and movies and streaming and what's going on in the world. We'll kind of be doing all of that, and that's how this show, I think, will develop, over time, is that we're just going to be talking about the stuff that's going on in the world. And in the process, maybe you get to know us a little bit. So for those of you who don't know us, speaking of that, I'm Tony.
I'm Kris.
You can see the little... So we have names and stuff. So we've been working together for a long, long time, since, the early 90s. And we've basically been radio guys. We've done some TV stuff, but we're mostly radio guys. That's been our career. And we got to the point where, after our most recent radio experience, we just thought, let's do something different. Let's try something different. Let's do things the way we want to do them.
And talking to the younger folks, this is kind of the way of the future.
The younger folks.
Well, it's happening. It's the way of now. It's not the future.
Yeah. Well, and talking about that, I have kids. My kids are, my oldest is too old to talk about. I can't even talk about that. My other 2 are in their 20s. And so it's kind of fun to see what they're doing, what they're listening to. And they kind of try to keep me on track of, even though I look like an old man and trying to be an old man.
Well, Tony, you want to start since you just talked about your kids?
Oh, sure. Just quick bios of who we are. I was married for a long time to the wrong person, but I had 3 great kids, and I love my children very much. They're all grown up now. And then I met the love of my life about 10 years ago. And we'll talk about where I met her a little later in the show and why it plays into this. But we fell in love very quickly, and we've only been married for about a year, but we've been together about 10 years almost, and it's just fantastic. Huge dog lover. I'm on the board of directors. We're based here in Tennessee. I'm on the board of directors of a no-kill shelter here. That's really important to both my wife and I. We have 3 dogs of our own. We've got a cat. We would have more, but we don't have enough money for more. These 3 are pretty expensive as it is. So that's the nutshell version of me. I was a theater and music major, did a lot of stuff like that, but radio was definitely the career.
Yes.
And now we're here. So, Kris?
Oh, well, it started out as a young boy no, we're not doing that.
Not going that far back.
A little more brief.
Yeah.
I just got married about a week ago.
Yeah. Second marriage for you?
Yes, second marriage, and the right marriage.
I was just saying, we're both trying to get it right this time.
I did get it right. This is the love of my life. I got a daughter that's amazing, and Rachel and Lily. I love both of them so much, and they've changed my life for the better. And
Lily's a teenager or about to be a teenager?
Well, she's about to start 12-2 in December. I told her she's going to have to repeat 12.
So she's about to be 13.
I'm holding her back. She'll be 13 in 2 years.
You're redshirting her.
Yes, that's it, a redshirting her. I don't want a teenager. But been with Tony. I mean, Tony's the longest relationship I've had in my life, 30-something years. And
it was weird to be at your wedding recently, and I looked around and I said, wow, the only person in attendance here who has known you longer than me is your mother.
Wow.
And that was weird.
Yeah, and she disowns me for a lot of those years. So
great to see her, though.
But anyhow, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. We have a dog that I fought against, and now is basically my dog, Bailey. And then that's pretty much it. I love music. And
yeah. Well, we're on the subject of the wedding real quick. We had a great experience, and you're finding something, and we just heard this in a meeting with our agent a couple of days ago. Your hand came up into the screen in the ring.
Yep. How long does that go on where people go, oh, let me see the ring? It's weird seeing you with a ring. I mean, I've been with Rach for 5 years, so it's no drastic change.
But now you're wearing the ring, though.
Yeah, I mean, engaged for 5 years.
Yeah, but you didn't wear a ring. You don't have to wear an engagement ring. She does.
Yeah. So anyhow, I was just curious how long that goes on, because I don't know. I won't say it makes me uncomfortable, but it's like, okay, yeah.
I see. It feels like it's too long already for you. So, yeah, I'm wearing a ring. This is my life now. Go on.
Exactly.
And then your mother-in-law, who is the sweetest lady.
Party queen.
She was going to town at the reception.
I mean, we kept going up to the DJ at the reception saying, okay, can you start bringing the music down? We got to end this thing. And the music would be back up. And I'd be like, why is the music back up? And he'd be like, she wanted it back up. And they'd point at Rosemary, my mother-in-law. And she's out on the dance floor. She would still be dancing had we not drug her out of the place.
Yeah, she could win some kind of dance contest, or marathon thing, whatever. But it was great. So congratulations to you again. And there you go. So now you know a little nutshell of kind of who we are. So we're going to segue here into some stuff that's going on that we wanted to talk about. And Taylor Swift, whether you love her or hate her, this woman is remarkable. I mean, Midnights came out. My oldest daughter's a total Swiftie, which is funny because my youngest daughter used to be really big fans when she was in country, and then now my oldest loves her with the pop thing. But this thing, it sells 1 million copies in like a day or a week or something crazy. She's breaking all the records on Spotify and Apple, and it's unbelievable.
And I know people love or hate her, which is a great thing. You don't want the middle of the road. Nobody wants to. In radio, it's the same thing. If you ever hear someone talk about a radio show or a movie star and they go, yeah, they're okay, that's not what you want. You want a passion, one way or the other. And Taylor has that.
For sure.
But we've known her since she was, 14, 15?
Whenever the first stuff came out, yeah.
And even then, when she walked away, Tony and I looked at each other like, this girl is brilliant. But she would be like a 14 or 15-year-old kid and then flip it to business. And when she's talking, it's like, man, she's talking like a 30-year veteran.
Yeah.
And just even like her Easter eggs she puts in her post and how she involves her audience, she is absolutely amazing. Whether you like her or not, you have to respect it.
You would have thought I had two heads. I sent a note to Lexi, who's my oldest daughter, and said, hey, did you see this extra thing she did? And she was like, she sent back to me, made me feel about that tall, like I'm the stupidest man to ever live, that she wouldn't already know that. So I was like, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just crazy. So I think she became the first artist in history to claim all 10 spots on the Billboard 100 at one time. And that just blows my mind.
It is amazing.
I honestly haven't even heard the whole album yet. I've only heard a few songs. I haven't had a chance, but.
And as she's grown, her audience has grown with her. A lot of artists, and not to bag on FGL.
Well, but let's do that.
Yeah. But like if you think about them, when they came out, all the girls that were coming out of high school going into college loved them. And then they never really grew that audience. And so by the time those women and ladies were getting out of college and getting married and having kids, they were like, these guys are a little high school for me. Taylor was able to take all these 12-year-olds and grow them with her. And it's just amazing.
It's pretty crazy. So speaking of music, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction. Dude, I haven't obviously seen it yet because it hasn't come out. It's going to air on HBO this Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. That'll be the first time it airs. I'm sure they'll do it more than once, but the ceremony was a while back. If you love music, and I don't care what kind of music you like, certainly it's debatable about who has gotten into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and maybe some of the people who still haven't gotten in yet. I could definitely go on about that. But this show is going to be amazing. You've got Duran Duran, Eurythmics, Pat Benatar, Eminem, Judas Priest, Lionel Richie. Carly Simon was supposed to be there, but I guess both her sisters passed away.
Wow.
Within like days of each other.
That's sad.
I think cancer for both of them, so she did not come, but some other folks filled in for her to sing, which is supposed to be great. So all these people are going to be performing. They're all inducted, and then there's like, you get these crazy cameos, and I won't ruin everything if you haven't heard about it or seen it, but like Steven Tyler shows up to do a live sample with Eminem.
That's cool.
Which is pretty cool. And then Springsteen and John Mellencamp showed up to do a tribute, I think, to Jerry Lee Lewis. I mean, it's going to be an incredible performance.
Those are always great, but when you put the Dolly factor in,
and
it just ups it.
Yeah, so Dolly Parton, she originally didn't want to accept the nomination, didn't want to get in, and then she came back and said, hey, I'll accept it graciously. She shows up, kills it. She's out there in black leather. She goes, I'm a rock and roller now. She wrote like an original thing, and then this all-star Jolene. And for me, I can't wait. The moment I'm looking forward to the most is watching Rob Halford, the lead singer of Judas Priest, trade vocals with Dolly Parton during Jolene.
Now, wasn't he the one when we lived in San Diego that would be at the grocery store?
Yes.
And we'd run in, and I'd be like, oh, there's...
It's a Judas Priest guy.
Yeah.
Buying groceries. So again, HBO this Saturday night. It's going to be a great show. Now, talking about shows, let's talk about what's streaming. What's the best thing you've seen in the last week?
Me, Dean Dillon's story. It's called Tennessee Whiskey. It's on Amazon Prime. Amazing. I like those kind of documentaries, like the Clive Davis story, the David Foster documentary, those kind of things. This is the best one I've ever seen. And Dean Dillon from East Tennessee writes most every country song George Strait's ever recorded a hit with. Yeah. And just watching his story about how he got to Nashville, what he did, and just there's so many little moments in it that are funny and also encouraging. If you've got a dream you're chasing, I encourage everyone to watch it. It's and even he wrote Tennessee Whiskey. Everybody loves that now because of Chris Stapleton.
That's why they named it Tennessee Whiskey.
Yes,
I get it now.
And what I love is they're cutting back to George Strait, and George turned that song down.
Wow,
said he didn't hear it.
Oh, man.
So I encourage everyone to watch it. It is fascinating to watch. And Dean Dillon, we've had the luxury of meeting him a couple of times, or the pleasure of meeting him a few times. And he's a different cat, but man, the guy can write a song.
Yeah, and you said it's on Prime?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I think there's maybe 4 people left in the world who aren't Prime members, so
Yep.
you can go to a friend's house and check that out. For us, I'd say we've watched a lot of pretty good stuff recently, but Inside Man on Netflix. It's
That's the Denzel Washington movie?
not the movie,
okay.
which is not a bad movie at all. This is a 4-episode series. I think they made it with the BBC. Stanley Tucci is kind of the main guy, and he's a great actor. He could take a bad script and make it awesome, but they give him some of the most incredible lines in this.
What's the story?
He is a prisoner. He's on death row. He has admitted he has murdered his wife.
So it's a comedy.
Absolutely. It's hysterical. But he basically is allowed to work. He's a criminologist, a brilliant criminologist. And so
Okay.
people will come to him with cases they want help with. And if it meets his criteria, which gets explained in the thing, then he will take you on and try to help you solve.
So like a modern day Hannibal Lecter type?
It reminded me of that for sure. You're going to recognize the warden. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He always plays kind of a sleazeball, but he's pretty good in this. And then there's another kind of storyline and they converge in the 4 episodes so Stanley Tucci's on death row here in America, and then there's a story going on in England that is so incredibly tense and frustrating and but it took me a second. The guy he plays a vicar, which is like a priest. And I was like, who is this?
They call a priest a vicar?
Well, it's not necessarily the same thing, but it's in different churches. It means,
Okay.
I had to look it up. I was like, I've
Interesting.
heard vicar before, but I didn't know what that was. But it's a representative. So I guess if you're a vicar, you could be the Pope's representative, or you could be Christ's representative, or you could be,
Gotcha.
your local representative, city council. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I've never heard of that except for Vicar's Vapor Rub.
Well, Vicar Victoria.
Okay.
Pretty good movie.
There you go. Those are radio guy jokes.
Sorry. Anyway, great story. And you'll if you watch the Harry Potter movies, you'll go, I know him, because he's in a couple of those movies. But it was excellent. A few little plot holes, some frustrating little things they did, but all in all, 4 episodes. It doesn't take a big chunk out of your life. Oh, that was great.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I really liked it. Okay, so let's move on to the thing the big meat of this particular episode. CMA Awards just happened. Now, we're country guys, and we love all kinds of music, but country has been our career for a long time.
And unfortunately, the CMA Awards have been declining in ratings every year for the past several years, frankly, because the music's not been fantastic. And I think the networks, because we've been around some of the folks involved in those meetings, have tried too hard to put rock people in or rap people or, pop music in to draw other people in instead of just focusing on the core group of country fans.
Yeah, and there's plenty of those. I mean, it's still one of the most popular, if not the most popular format of music in the world.
Well, this one was up 7.3 million viewers. It's up 10% over last year.
Yeah, so I think folks were curious to see it. So if you watch the show, I'm sure you'll have your own opinions. So Peyton Manning and Luke Bryan, I was initially looking forward to this. I love Peyton Manning. I think he's great on camera. I think he's a lot of fun. But he was more nervous than I've seen him. He looked like he was gripping that microphone like it was a lifeboat.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, gosh, that's surprising to me because he's usually so calm and cool. But and ultimately, the problem is, and I'm not trying to slight anybody, but the monologue, the jokes, it's just you got to get the right combination of people to make those jokes work.
Now, he had one joke you liked.
Yeah, well, in fact, I think that's going to be included a little later.
Okay.
In our top 5 moments.
Okay. Well, I tell you what I really enjoyed about the CMAs was it seemed more relaxed this year. If that makes sense. Like, they
pacing.
I know some artists they've told, like, you're going to perform, but you have to cut out the 3rd verse of your song to make it 2.5 minutes so we can get more people to perform.
I got to say, there's a couple of those moments where I wish they had done that last night.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there was less performances last night, and even the people that won awards got a chance to speak, because usually if someone says, you want to say something, they cut right to the music and go to commercial or something. And, they let everybody, it just seemed more relaxed last night, and it seemed a little more country, which I liked.
Yeah, Luke Combs mentioned that after he picked up his Entertainer of the Year award for the 2nd year in a row. Some people not happy about that. I'm not sure who you wanted to put in place
I voted
of that.
for him.
Yeah, I mean, who else are you going to say? I mean, that was a tough category, but I don't think it's unfair to say
a lot of
he
people
deserves it.
one lady messaged us and said, well, he just stands there and sings. I'm like, well, that worked out for Strait, George Jones, Don Williams,
Alan Jackson.
But that award also means how you represent country, how you're seen from people that aren't country fans around the world, whether you're doing charity work or just being an all-around good person, that sort of thing.
And the kind of, he's big on social media. He loves to put those live performances out on social media. So those things all add up. So that was kind of cool. Now, couple of things that bugged me.
Okay.
And I know it was a big hit, but this Cole Swindell Jody Messina thing he did. I don't mind if somebody pays tribute to a song, like the Jake Owen song, the Jack and Diane.
Jack
one.
and Diane.
You're Jack, or I was Jack, you were Diane. It had a vibe, and he referenced the song, and it worked. But this is just like somebody getting up at karaoke and said, "Hey, if you guys don't mind, I wrote my own lyrics to this song, and they suck. They're not as good as the original, but here we go." And it became a hit. I just don't understand.
Well, remember they did that in rap. They're just kind of copying rap. Rap did that. P. Diddy did that with the "Every Breath You Take" song. Yeah. And those kind of things happen a lot. So.
Not a fan.
Okay, I get it. And I'm just telling you right now, that is the trend to watch for. For a while, the hot trend in country was name check other songs. Old Dominion's big on that, where they always mention another song that was a hit. Thomas Rhett does it a lot. Mm-hmm. You watch, the next thing's going to be exactly what Cole Swindell just did. They're all going to be like singing over a song from the 90s. Same music, same layout.
I guess it's kind of like, they say there's no original ideas left in Hollywood. Yep. Maybe we've run out of original ideas. Well,
there's some original ones. I thought Hardy had a great story song.
Yeah, that also is going to appear in our top 5 in just a few seconds. So the Carrie Underwood tune, I just felt like, and we've had people say this to us on our social media, it's like, she just yells. And there was a time when I felt like, she has that powerful voice, like what Martina McBride used to be known for. But now it does seem like everything she does is just, she goes straight to 10. And there's no leading up to it.
I don't think Carrie needs our advice. I don't think she's sitting around.
We could make her something.
Yeah, I don't think she's sitting in Nashville going, "What do Tony and Kris think about this?"
She sleeps on her bags of money. I wonder what they think.
But I'll say this, with 90s country coming back right now, and you remember her version of "I Told You So"?
Randy Travis song, yeah.
If she would do those kind of songs right now, I think she could be like Reba for the format, because she's a great singer, just crush it. But I think she wants to be a rock star. And it just, I don't know if her timing's right on that.
Yeah, well,
that's just me.
Do what makes you happy, man. You get the money to do it.
You got that right.
And I like some of her stuff. That song just didn't do it for me. I kind of like the Thomas Rhett, Katy Perry song. It was catchy, completely forgettable. And by tomorrow, I won't remember a thing about it.
The only thing I remember about it, I don't remember the song. The only thing I remember is Rach going, "Oh, well, she's country because she wore a hat and boots."
Why? Why is this still happening? This has been going on forever. It's like, I'm going to appear in a country show. Well, I better put a cowboy hat on.
She did what every bachelorette party in Nashville does. Oh, we're going to Broadway? We better get our cowboy hats on so we fit in. And then a mile away, tourist.
I like Katy Perry. I like her music. She's sexy. She's cool. But then that happened, and I was like, oh. Who told her that was a good idea? And the denim dress. I don't know. Really? Okay. And then this is an area where Kris and I disagree. It's a performance that I really liked, but you did not very much.
No, I did not.
Even though you love the artist.
I love Brothers Osborne.
Big fan. So their little contribution to the Stones thing with War and Treaty, I loved it. I thought they sounded fantastic. I wish John had got a chance to cut loose a little more on guitar, and I wish TJ had been a little more energetic.
That's where my issue is, because I love the Rolling Stones. I'm a huge Rolling Stones fan, probably my second favorite band behind Van Halen.
Yeah.
And the song just kind of dragged along to me, like it was just that's it's only rock and roll, and it was just like, it's only rock and roll.
He was just a little too. That would be my only critique. He was a little laid back, but War and Treaty was so good, and they were so energetic, and they sounded so good. I think that made up for it for me, and I was like, that was a pretty good performance. So,
not me, I'm out.
Okay, so there's some of our takeaways. We definitely want to hear yours as well. So if you watch the CMAs, you're a country fan, get in the comments and let us know what you thought about the award show. And if you think we're crazy, you disagree with us on something, we want to hear that. Let's get a spirited disagreement going.
Okay.
Anybody who knows me will tell you, Tony likes to argue.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
So I'll go with you.
We should just do a whole episode one day of just Tony arguing. Whatever the subject, we're just going to throw up random subjects, and then Tony's going to argue with you on it.
I'll do it. My wife,
I'll do it.
Katie, she goes, you'll argue even if there's no reason to argue. I'm agreeing with you. Why are we still arguing? I can't help myself. All right, our top 5 moments from this year's CMA Awards. Number 5 for us was that opener, the Loretta Lynn tribute.
Yes.
Reba, Carrie, Miranda.
And my favorite part of that whole thing was the very beginning, where it showed Loretta Lynn winning the Entertainer of the Year, the country music's biggest night years ago. And in her acceptance speech, she goes, "Well, I wish my husband could be here, but he's out hunting." So like he couldn't make arrangements. You might win the biggest award they have at the CMA Awards. Yeah, but I got to go hunting, honey.
I mean, I guess he felt like he had done his work. Because if it hadn't been for him, maybe she may not have.
True.
Because he put a lot of work into to make her what she was.
Yeah, and then he went on to star in Men in Black, which was...
Well, I think you're thinking of the movie.
Yeah.
Coal Miner's Daughter.
Yes.
That her husband didn't... That's Tommy Lee Jones you're thinking of.
My bad.
Who is... we'll talk about this
We'll
later.
clear that up later.
Okay. Number 4, top moment from the CMA Awards last night, and I mentioned this earlier. I know it's a single line, but I loved it so much when Peyton Manning said, "I told this guy he's like a brother to me, and he just can't figure out it's not a compliment." I thought that was hilarious.
It's a great line because Eli and Peyton have such a good relationship, and their Caesars commercials kill me.
Yeah, I love
with
them.
Cooper. I love those.
So I think that was pretty great. Our number 3 moment from the CMAs last night, the Hardy and Lainey Wilson.
Story songs, I've been saying for a while, are what's missing in country music. And when I say story songs, I'm talking about obviously Good Directions because my wife wrote that. But, you know, you think back to The Little Girl, John Michael Montgomery, those kind of songs. I mean, even what's the, I can't think of it now. They're singing about Hank Williams getting in the car.
Midnight Montgomery?
Yeah, no.
Oh, the other one.
The Ride.
The Ride, okay.
And
same song, different artist.
But, you know, those kind of songs are just great. And this Wait in the Truck, I guarantee you will be the best song about vigilante justice this year.
Well, it's dark. It's dark content, but I mean, dark things are happening in the world. And if we can't address that in our music and our art, then why not do that?
And there's some lines in that song. I didn't know justice would be under the seat.
Yeah.
I mean, just those kind of things.
Well, and
better place than where I sent them to. And
I'm not a huge Hardy fan. I like him okay, and I thought he sounded great. I think he did a great job. Lainey Wilson's performance, like her live performance of that last night, that's one of the most intense things I've seen, and she was excellent.
And what a coming out party for her. I mean, everybody knew about her because she's nominated for everything, but man,
yeah,
if you weren't familiar with her, you are now.
No kidding. All right, number 2 moment from the CMAs, the Alan Jackson tribute. I mean, as he was winning the Willie Nelson Award, it was incredible to hear. I mean, it was great hearing Dierks and John Party and them do their thing, and then, of course, Alan sounded fantastic.
It broke my heart to watch that because, first of all, it made me feel old because I remember us being at Randy Owens' house and Jeff Cook, who just passed away, sadly. But Jeff Cook's house, when Chattahoochee went number 1.
Right.
And the writer was there with us that wrote that song with Alan. And we were like, this Alan Jackson's going to be something. Yeah. And now you're watching him kind of wrap up his career, and his health issues, I think, are worse than they're letting on. Because if you go back and watch that performance last night, he did not move an inch. He didn't, usually a person will normally just kind of.
Even somebody who's not known for running around the stage.
Yeah, you move around a little bit. Or even like when he said, "Hey, gal, bring me that award."
Yeah.
Like, he didn't take a step toward her and give her a hug, nothing. He just stood right where he was at.
Which, in fairness, she should have known to do that because she knows he's got this issue. Don't make him try to walk.
But it just seemed to me like he was planted up there, and I was sad. Yeah, but it was beautiful and fun to watch. And
he sounded great. Well, I think he knows that it's time, and he knows, this is what's going to happen.
Still sounds great.
He's got it going on. Sounded great, looked great. And for us, our number 1 moment from the CMAs, killer performance, seeing Patty Loveless on stage again, along with Kris Stapleton and his wife Morgan. It was unbelievable to hear them sing that You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive.
She sounded so good. I mean, he sounded great as always too, but just to hear Patty, and to be honest, I mean, we talk about it. Women have been mistreated in country music the past few years. Yeah. And to see a woman, I would say, how old would you say Patty is? In her 60s?
60s, yeah.
And to sound that good and to get a chance, at the end of the performance, she lips to Kris. You see her go, wow. I bet she never thought she'd be on national TV again singing. Yeah. And she crushed it.
It was just their voices together was great. And then if you're a fan of Justified, which is where that song is from, my wife Katie loves it. As soon as they started that, she was like, oh my gosh. She was flipping out because it's like her favorite song. I can hear her singing it around the house all the time. But it was just one of those chill bump moments where everybody's voice is spot on. They played well, and it was just. And then, you talked about the relaxed pace. When's the last time you saw somebody come on stage and do a 6-minute song?
It was amazing because I kept thinking in my head, how are they going to get out of this song? Because it's such a long song, and they played the whole thing, and I was like, this is fantastic.
Yeah, just an unbelievable moment.
Encourage you to go check that out.
If you haven't watched it, do watch it. And again, like we said in the comments, your favorite takeaways, your top moments, the things you noticed, we'd love to see what you had to say about the show. And so as we do that, it brings us to the end of this particular episode, and there'll be a couple of different ways we end these things, usually with like little leftovers or things we find funny. So today, it's the last list.
Okay.
So these are just a few things we didn't spend a lot of time on, but we felt like we should mention in the news or whatever. So here we go. Tony and Kris show number 1.
Okay.
Our first last list.
Here we go.
All right. The election, midterms. We're not political. We don't talk about politics. It's too crazy out there. But we wanted to make sure we got it out there that it happened.
Yes.
Maybe you heard.
And the only way you're going to get me political is if you put term limits on everyone, no matter the office.
I think that's fair. Yeah. So, and you can say, like, if your candidate or if your side didn't do as well as you wanted to wherever you are, did you vote? Because in a lot of places I saw, like in Arkansas, they said like this huge amount of people didn't even bother voting.
Yeah.
Can't complain if you don't vote.
And I don't want to argue for the sake of arguing, but whoever you voted for, I voted for the other person.
See, you can argue. You're good at this too. It's not just me.
See, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Hey, welcome to the club. Okay, football. If you're a football fan, we're getting into that. Near Thanksgiving weekend's coming up, and
yes.
Of course, if you're a college football fan, everybody's kind of making their maneuvers. What's going to happen for the playoffs?
And we're here in Tennessee, and Tennessee's having the best season they've had since the '90s.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see what they're going to do if the season doesn't turn out the way they want it to, because since I've been here, they've had a lot of bad down years. And there's always an excuse. The refs are against them. The TV networks are against them. The SEC's against them. And now suddenly everybody must have forgave them because they're doing great. But if they don't make the playoffs, then I think all that will be back in play.
It's almost fun. I think that should almost be a thing on FanDuel. Like, what will the excuse be this week?
Yeah, what's the ratio on that?
Let's see. The whole Elon Musk Twitter thing. I mean,
I'm not going to pay to be on Twitter.
Well, yeah, I certainly wouldn't either, and I'm not. And these people, paying for a blue check mark. Get out of here.
And he just looks like a Bond villain to me. Like, I don't trust him. Like, I think Daniel Craig could show up at any minute, walk into his office, and they could. It's on.
I could see that. Totally see that. I see people saying they're going to leave Twitter. I don't think I'd see myself doing that, mainly for heart reasons, because that's where I met my wife. We met on Twitter. We lived in totally different places and just randomly saw each other on the timeline, and it started there, and that was our love. So I don't think I could bear to go away from it, but it's pretty weird.
Aaron Carter's in the news, and sad story, and just want to tell you, if you know anybody that's in a dark place or doing bad things like he was doing, reach out to him, try to get a hold of him. I mean, I know, Tony, you've had to deal with family issues in similar situations.
Mental health is no joke. Almost everybody in my family in some form or fashion has to deal with it. But most recently, my son tried to take his own life. And luckily, I flew up. We got him on the right path. We got him some professional help. He's on meds now. He's doing great. And I think my message is especially, and it's not for everyone. I don't want to be everyone's mental health matters. But if you are a man, from a very early age, we train men to, stop crying.
Yeah.
Don't be a baby. And we say those little things thinking that we'll toughen them up, we'll make them men. But what you're ultimately doing is really stunting their emotional growth. And like it or not, it's going to come back and affect them down the road.
Yes.
Now, having said that, I didn't do that to Jeffrey. I don't make it sound like the reason he had mental problems because I said those things. But men especially, face your mental health. It's okay to get help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to take medicine to make you feel better. No reason you shouldn't be doing that.
Well said.
Okay, and finally, Powerball. Dude, I'm jealous. I'm sick to my stomach that somebody won $2 billion.
We want some if you won and you're watching this.
It's crazy. The ironic thing about this is this person. Well, real quick, I love that the guy who runs the store is a millionaire now.
Yes,
he got such a bonus for that. But then this winner, when you win these things, what immediately happens is you have to give off the taxes if you take the lump sum to your state government and your federal government, which will make this billionaire the first billionaire in the United States to pay his fair share in taxes.
That's a zinger.
So, pow. All right. I guess we're wrapping the first show.
Yes, this has been fun.
We hope you like it. Give us comments.
Reviews, whatever.
Yeah, let us know what you'd like to see, what you didn't like, what you'd like more of, and we'll probably ignore it, but we'd still like to see it. No, seriously, we want to hear what you think, and we want to tweak this thing. It's going to grow. It's going to change. It's going to evolve.
So subscribe, and please share and tell your friends.
Yeah, like the button. Hit that little like button. If you have subscribed, thank you. If you haven't yet, and you think, this could be some stuff I could come back and watch again, as Kris mentioned, hit that subscribe button. If you really liked it, go ahead and hit the notification bell, and that way, anytime we post new content, you will get a notification that will tell you about that.
We appreciate you.
All right, we're Tony and Kris. We'll see you soon.